This lesson is designed to help you choose a topic for your science project. Sometimes the hardest part of doing the science project is settling on an idea. You want to choose a topic that you will enjoy. This project is twofold. It involves both researching your topic and then also conducting the experiment. You want to enjoy both parts. You will be researching on your topic and reading various articles, so you want to make sure that you will find that interesting. You also want to enjoy the actual experimentation. You should choose a topic that will both inspire you and hold your curiosity over several months. We're going to start this project at the beginning of school, and it will not conclude until about January. So that's several months that you will be working on this project. You should also choose a topic that matters. So if you are not interested in the results of your experiment, why would anyone else be? So try to choose a question that actually matters. To do this, you should start with your interest. Make a list of everything that interests you. Maybe think about it for a day or two. Everything that you come in contact with, everything that you think about, could potentially be turned into a science project. Do you ever wonder how certain things work? Do you think about if one way of doing something is better than another? Also, we encourage you all to have discussions with your family and peers. Do make sure they are about your interest, because remember, you're the one doing the project, you're the one researching it, and see what kind of questions you can come up with that might be a good topic for this year's project. Once you've got your interest and topic narrowed down, you've got to turn that into a project. A scientific experiment needs two things. It needs an independent variable, something that you will manipulate, and a dependent variable, something that you will measure. So you are going to modify the independent variable. For example, if you're doing a project on different amounts of fertilizer and plant growth, the independent variable would be the amount of fertilizer. You would have 4 levels of that independent variable for your project. The control would be no fertilizer, and then you'd have 3 different levels of varying amounts of fertilizer. The dependent variable is what you measure, the data that you're going to collect. For that scenario, the dependent variable would be the height of the plant, measured with a ruler in millimeters or centimeters, depending on the specific plant. You want to make sure that you can collect quantitative data. Quantitative data is numerical data. For example, mass, volume, temperature, height. All of those different measurements will give us number data. It's really important that we get quantitative data from these experiments so that we can collect our data, organize it in a data table, turn that data into a graph, and then do statistical analysis. You are welcome to collect qualitative data in addition, but all projects must have quantitative data for the dependent variable. You also want to make sure that you have an experiment that you can control the environment so that you're only manipulating the variable in question, which is the independent variable. Now, some projects that is harder to do than others, but all projects will have a minimum of 5 constants so that we can help control the environment as best as possible. You want to research your topic before you settle on a topic that you're definitely going to do your project on. You want to determine how much relevant research is available. There needs to be enough research to help you with 2 main parts of your project in the beginning, and that's the hypothesis and the procedure. When you write your hypothesis, you're going to make a prediction about how your experiment is going to go, and you're going to write that hypothesis in the if, then, because format. So not just making an educated guess, but this needs to be developed based on research. So the because part, the reasoning of your hypothesis, needs to come from research. So make sure enough resources are available to help you with this part of your project. You will also want to find sources to help you devise a procedure. Now, there may be more complicated procedures than others. Some of it you might be able to figure out on your own, but other parts you will need some sources to help you with that. Maybe it's the setup of something that you're collecting or measuring. Maybe it's the best way to collect data. You want to make sure that there are enough sources to help you out with developing your procedure, because when you write your procedure, you will need to write it with enough detail to convince your science teacher that you know what you're doing. If you cannot find enough reputable sources on your topic, you will need to revise your plan. A lack of sources is going to make every single step of this project more challenging, and it's better to just change your plan from the beginning than sticking with a topic that you don't have a lot of good sources on throughout the whole project. Be ready to provide a rationale for choosing your topic. A rationale explains the need for the study. This is the reason why the researcher chose to focus on the topic in question. It explains why the topic has significance and why further research and experimentation are needed to fill in the gaps of the current understanding on this topic. You will need to explain the benefits of your project, so make sure it has some. You can think about how your project could be used to further knowledge, maybe build upon current practice, or improve people's way of life. Some topics that will not be approved, they're never allowed, so just move on and come up with a new idea. Those involve things like mold, fungi, bacteria, blood, human animal tissue, vertebrate animals, including fish, and invertebrate animals that are purposefully mistreated or killed. Now, microbiology projects are allowed, so some bacteria, but those need to be done at school. More to come on that in a moment. No projects with hazardous chemicals or devices not properly screened by your teacher. No human exercise, obviously no tobacco, prescription drugs, firearms, explosives, or radiation projects. No vertebrate subjects. No topics that are just about preference or taste comparison. Also no products, no consumer product testing. Things like that might be interesting, but they are not going to be found in scientific experiments. Topics that require recall of things done in the past, things like effective music or talking on plants, anything with handwriting, astrology. Again, interesting, but we cannot devise a good scientific project. Topics that require measurements that will be very difficult to make or repeat, and any project that's in violation of state, federal, or the ISEF rules. Okay, if you're unsure, please double check with your teacher. Now, for those sensitive projects, all students, grades 9 through 12, are welcome to do a microbiology project. But in order to be allowed to do a microbiology project, you need to get pre-approved by your teacher. To get pre-approved, you will click on this link and fill in the pre-approval form, print it out, and submit it to your teacher by the deadline, which is September 14th. Human projects, same deadline, due September 14th to your teacher, are only allowed for 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So upperclassmen, if you are interested in doing a human study project, fill in the form, print it out, and submit it to your teacher. These are due before the other projects are due for deadline 1, the full proposal, because your teacher needs to make sure that you are aware of all the specifics and extra work that goes into these projects, and you are willing to get that done before the deadline. If your project is not going to be approved, your teacher will let you know, and you can go with Plan B to submit that for deadline 1. Okay, the earlier you get these in, the better, so that you know what kind of shape you're in moving forward. Some final guidelines. You want to make sure your project is at the high school level or higher, but no projects that are too simple. So elementary or middle school level projects will not be accepted. If you are unsure if your project is at the high school level or you need some advice on how to elevate your topic, please check in with your teacher. You want to make sure that you can get all of the materials that you need for your project. You can get them in a reasonable amount of time and for an affordable price. Okay, don't assume that anything that you find that you need for your project is affordable or that you can get your hands on and order to your home safely. You are always welcome to check in with your teacher and see if they have materials that you can borrow, or they'll let you come into your classrooms to use at set times. You want to make sure that your project is safe to do at home. As I said before, the microbiology projects must be done at school, and some other projects as well. Please discuss them with your teacher or an outside mentor to schedule lab time. If you are looking for ideas, we have some lists here. Click on those links to check out some biology topics, physics and chemistry, and then also some smartphone apps that might trigger an idea for your project this year. We also have a science project help course, which is your one-stop shop for a lot of information throughout the year, starting with this choosing a topic presentation throughout the whole project up until the end of the year. We also have some science fair mentors that are going to be a great resource to you all this year. The contact information is available on the science project help course, and these upperclassmen have done amazing projects. In fact, they were all nominated to be science fair mentors by their previous teachers because they did such a good job with their projects when they were underclassmen. You can sign up for a mentor to work with you for your entire project, or just come to a drop-in session during GP or after school as needed. Now for that science project help course, let's finish up by going ahead and enrolling in that course. If you were in the course last year, that course was retired, so you must re-enroll this year. You can do that by one of two ways. You can click on that link and it should take you to Canvas and you can enroll, or you can use this QR code.